woman who drove off an unfinished bridge in Champaign has been sentenced to 6 years in prison.
We told you about this on the morning show. Asia Marshall was charged with a DUI last September. That crash was all caught on another driver's dash cam. You can see the moment Marshall drove into a concrete barrier and crashed onto I-57. Months later, she got a second DUI. That was dismissed as part of a deal to get her to plead guilty for the bridge one. In that sentencing, Marshall's mother took the stand in her defense, saying her daughter is working on bettering her life.
She's currently taking medication. She's doing 100% better than what she was doing. And in 6 years for a DUI, aggravated DUI, with people that were willingly in the car with her doing the same thing that she was doing, that's unfair. That's really unfair.
The judge also recommended that she get mental health treatment during her sentence.
Now for a news follow-up story this morning, a Beecher City man has been convicted of concealing a homicidal death. Aaron Kaiser will be sentenced in October. He and Christopher Glass were arrested after the body of Kimberly Mattingly was found on property owned by Kaiser's parents. Now he lived there at the time, and Mattingly had been missing for about a month. Glass is set to go to trial for murder next month.
An update this morning on an accidental shooting involving a 3-year-old in Springfield. Police confirmed the child got a hold of their guardian's gun and got hurt. The child should be all right, though. The gun was registered, but it was not kept in a proper case or locked up. Police have contacted DCFS.
Our next drought monitor going to be released later on this morning. Last week's report showed that we did have some of this abnormally dry soil started to extend a little farther to the east, and definitely they saw that expand a lot more over into Indiana. I think we're going to see more expansion of the abnormally dry soil with all the dry and hot weather we've been seeing here recently, and still no rain here over the next day or so as far as any good rain chances. We'll see more maybe late tomorrow night, and then heading on into the weekend and next work week, which will help to bring in some opportunities between about maybe 1 inch to 2. I think the 3 inches might be a little overdone here on the model, but still overall the trend is we get to see more of the opportunities, and the pattern is going to change up for us, that the systems are going to track on through the area and provide more of the opportunities, and we're going to see more clouds, which will mean things will start to cool down too for us. Roofy Dog on it, Flooring America weather camera. Danville, good morning. We got the clouds out there. As far as any rain, I don't think we're going to see much, if anything, as we go into the day. You can see that there were some showers a little farther south. Those started to fade away, and we might notice a few sprinkles here and there throughout the morning closer to I-70. But still, the majority of the rain, if it does fall, it's going to be happening later on this evening and into the night, and those chances are extremely small. And then eventually starting to get some better rain chances for late Friday and heading into your Saturday. We'll talk about those opportunities, plus the cooler weather and more rain chances into next work week when we look at your 7-day forecast in about 5 minutes. Back.
All right, thank you, Adam. Well, the CDC is now saying people exposed to the coronavirus who don't have symptoms don't need to be tested. Some say that directly contradicts the previous federal recommendations, and the CDC's new recommendation says if you have been in close contact with a person who has tested positive for at least 15 minutes but don't have any symptoms, you don't necessarily need to be tested. That recommendation has changed, and the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District says this is the wrong message to give people during such a critical time. They're still encouraging people to get tested as much as possible.
A lot of individuals that we are seeing, cases, are asymptomatic. Unless you test, how are you going to find out if you're positive or not? And while you're asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic before you become positive, you are spreading this to many other people.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services maintains that, above all, people should consult with local health departments and doctors to decide if they need to be tested.
A couple buses are being deep cleaned and disinfected. That's after a bus driver at Champaign-Urbana MTD tested positive for COVID-19. That driver last worked earlier this week. On Monday, they drove the 6 orange from 12 until 4 p.m. and the 550 green from about 5:50 to 10:30 p.m. MTD says the employee wore a mask while interacting with passengers.
An assisted living facility in Pana is reporting a COVID-19 outbreak. That's at Life's Journey. 2 residents and 3 staff members have tested positive, and all residents and staff members are now being tested.
New this morning, Champaign County has now surpassed more than 2,000 total cases of COVID-19. That makes it more than 300 new cases since last Tuesday. There were 86 new ones reported earlier this week. That's a single-day high during the pandemic. 2 people are currently in the hospital with COVID-19.
And taking a look at the latest coronavirus numbers, for the 3rd straight day, the state's 7-day positivity rate has fallen. It's now at 4%. There are more than 2,100 new cases in Illinois, bringing the total to more than 225,000 cases overall. 37 more people have died, bringing the death toll to nearly 8,000 altogether.
Some bars in U of I's campus town have new requirements for students coming in. There's an app that shows whether students have a positive or negative COVID-19 test. We told you about that app before on the morning show. Well, now Murphy's Pub is asking all students to show they're negative before they can come inside. Students say it makes them feel safer.
Champaign Public Schools has kicked off their school year virtually. The board first called for a hybrid model, but they revised that plan to move all students online for the first quarter. Superintendent Susan Zola says they will contact family members who fall into certain categories later in the year to talk about in-person instruction. That includes IEP students as well. Well, every day someone receives a life-saving organ transplant.
And if you didn't already know, August is National Minority Donor Awareness Month. WCIA3's Karina Rubio joins us live from the newsroom to share a special story. Good morning, Karina.
Hey, Christy Mack, good morning. The Gift of Hope Donor and Tissue Network Springfield office connects thousands of organ donors with recipients who are in need. The group says experts have found that a transplant is far more successful if it comes from someone who shares the same ethnic background as you. In Illinois, 60% of people waiting for life-saving organs are ethnic minorities, but only a third are registered donors. Champaign local Jim McFarland was waiting 9 years ago when he was in stage 4 kidney failure.
We're not donating organs at the same rate we're receiving organs. They got to come from somewhere. And it just seems natural that we would want to help Black Lives Matter in another way. There are people out there who are in desperate need of transplants, and what we can do to help, we should do.
McFarland says his kidney came from a 6-year-old black girl who passed away unexpectedly, and that's why this month is important. Reporting live in the newsroom, Karina Rubio, WCIA3, your local news leader.
That will wrap up the morning show on WCIA3, but coming up, we'll make the switch to WCIX for the 7 o'clock hour of the morning show.
It used to be a field of corn, of why sunflowers have drawn a lot more attention as of late.
But before that, let's get one last check of our 7-day with Adam.
Rain back in the forecast. Still a small chance today, but it's going to be around, and we'll see more of those chances later this afternoon and into the evening with more opportunities on the way Friday, early Saturday, and then more to come into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And some of this, yes, will be connected, but not a lot of it with what's left of Hurricane Laura once it makes its way northward. We'll talk more about that coming up on the X.